Hi. Hey. How are you? Hi. Good morning, or whenever you watch this video, good afternoon, or whenever it is if you watch this some other time. But good morning. Right now it's this morning. Good morning, Vietnam, boys and girls and women and children. And if you're a boy or a girl, you're probably 17 years old or 18 or 19. You may be 18 or 19 because in the Bible, children are not grown up women or men until they're 20 years old, and they weren't allowed to go to war until they were 20 years old. And I have kids to look out for. That's why I said it in that way. So, my daughter. Well, I don't want to talk about it right now. Anyway, so let's talk about what they say about gay people in the Bible. Is being gay wrong? Well, they let's look it up in the Bible. But first, I'd like to talk about why my hair is long. Or, hey, it's a miracle. Today it got long. This is the first time it's actually kind of long. Now, I have hoped to have all long hair, like Tommy Lee, Bon Jovi, Nikki Sixx, uh, Vince Neil, Danzig, but I don't really condone well, he may be okay now. Um, uh, all these cool people who played music. I was like, that's what I'd like to do when I grow up. When I was a kid, when I was 12 or 10. When I was 10, I first really started listening to music. My first favorite song was "We Built This City on Rock and Roll," and I think I was 10. And I just heard that song on the radio and I really liked it. And before that, we watched movies at home. We watched Saturday Night Live and stuff, and I watched Michael J. Fox playing guitar on a stage, and I was like, wow, that's awesome. And he sang and played guitar to all those kids at the high school or whatever when he was a kid at the high school. But I don't have any desire to go anywhere near a high school. And so our kids are homeschooled. So, but my son Rowan, they may go to high school just to get to do that fun experience of being in a high school. Like, can you imagine how amazing that would be to be a teenager at a real huge high school and get to go to a high school? It might be kind of fun. So, I'd rather just have them not go. But if it may be a fun one-time experience that they go through. Like when I went to film school, I had gone to so many colleges and universities, and it was so difficult for me to do all the work and study. And I got into one of the best film schools on earth. I got a scholarship, and it was so hard to do. And other kids were partying and stuff, having a good time, and I was studying the whole time. And then doing fun stuff, working on movies. When I got to work on movies with Danica, that was pretty good. When I met her, I got to just work on movies more. And so going to film school as a young man, I was like 24, in my 20s. There's no experience like that being at a real film school. There may be 100 million people went to film school or something. I don't know. I don't think it's much more than that. I don't know. Maybe 80 million to 200 million people have been enrolled in a film school or something like that, or 80 million people, or 20 million or 10 million who have ever been to a film school or something. I don't know. And I don't know, 100 million of them or something. Who knows? You try to do the statistics on things and study and figure out, what things are. But that's pretty good. I got an ability for that because my dad used to teach statistics. So here's what That's the reason why I grew long hair. Or now, if this is long, but this is not the kind of haircut I'd hope to have. This almost looks like a wrestler or something, you know. I was hoping to have all long hair, like David Lee Roth, like so many of those rock stars, not just the glam rock cheesy ones, but the cool ones and the good ones, the real rock stars. There's nothing gay about it, and I feel like there's somebody in my life who thinks that, I don't know. But I was just going to say, it's not gay to have long hair on a man. You'd have to be insane or crazy to think that. And there's so many people who have been to the military. There's so many people who have been to the military who have had short hair when they're enlisted in the Army. When they're in the Army. And when they got out of the Army, they grew long hair. So why is that a thing in America that they try to keep people's hair short? And I wonder what the history of short hair means. And I wonder why when they depict Jesus, when they show Jesus, an image of Jesus, he has long hair and a beard. However, is that a false graven image that they think that's what he looks like, or based upon studying how things really were back then, that's the most likely way that he really looked, with a beard and long hair, even though I don't know what kind of genetic look he had, but he was made from God. God is his father, so I don't know. So let's talk about if homosexuality is good at all, or do they burn in the lake of fire or whatever. I think I know. Here's where, from studying the Bible, here's what I think it is already, but we'll look up scripture. Here's what I think homosexuality is: an abomination. It's an abomination. What does that mean, an abomination? Does that mean they'll burn in hell? No. It means that it causes their own death to do a homosexual act. When will they die? Does that mean, that doesn't mean they're going to just die instantly when they do it. This is reality. This is the Bible. Everything in the Bible is real. That's truth. That's real. If you don't understand what it says, like the Old Testament is really hard to understand. The devil tries to squash it and make it down here to not make much sense. And that's how people lived in Jesus' time. And he had to be different from them to show them the real truth with the New Testament. And the Old Testament is still the truth and still reality, but it wasn't enough on its own. Jesus had to get the New Testament written. God had to get the New Testament written. So, homosexuality is an abomination, and they will die from it, but it may be when they're 98, 92 years old instead of 110. Someone like, or maybe when they're 68, or I don't know when, instead of, if they had not done a homosexual act, they would have died from some different thing that the sin in their life caused. Their own sin or somebody else's sin. If they had never been gay with anyone and they had those tendencies and they didn't act on it in real life, then they would die from something else, and they'd live longer until they died of the other thing. So, homosexual immorality, or sexual immorality that's homosexual, will eventually cause death. Will cause whoever does it to die. They'll die. They may be killed. They die, but don't kill them in real life. Don't kill them in real life. It's not like the old days of the Old Testament where they stoned people to death and crap like that. You don't want to hurt anyone in the ways of the Old Testament. You don't want to do anything like that. But God wrote that into the Old Testament. I just realized they used to allow punishment of like killing people by stoning them to death and stuff if they did some sin, and that was the way that they had the law back then. but it's a little different now. So it's good that we have police. It's actually really good that we have police. I just realized that, and because in the Old Testament it says that God had written that there was supposed to be punishment for what they did. So the only way to do it on earth is for sinful people, because we're all sinful, to punish them. But the law is a little the law is not verbatim from the Old Testament or New Testament. The law is not verbatim. Well, the law is the Old Testament. The law is verbatim from the Old Testament. The law is called the Old Testament. That's the law. And that's how things really are. And so things will happen where, like, the police may make mistakes here and there, and people may make mistakes, and the police don't always get it right all the time, but they're pretty good. And everything will happen the way God wants it. Everything will happen the way God wants things to happen. And growing up, I liked music that I had no idea if they were gay or straight, but I never had a gay tendency. I liked the way that they dressed and stuff. Like now, I put some green thing in my beard. It happened to wipe off. Now it looks like it's doing that. I don't know why, but and I have blonde hair, and it looks like maybe it's some cool style or something like that. But I just used a crayon, not a crayon, but yeah, crayon. Wiped the My friend Chris calls a crayon. Yep, that's a dog. His crayon came out, or something like that. No, I wouldn't put. Why would I put that on my face? Yeah, and so, I listened to Jane's Addiction growing up, but in real life, their real habits in real life, they may have gotten gay one time in their life or something like that. Or Mick Jagger may have gotten gay a few times out of the maybe thousands of times he had been with women, because he was a sex addict. But I don't know how many times the people in Jane's Addiction. But growing up, when I watched Mick Jagger, I thought, hey, his body's in shape, he looks cool, it looks like he's not a fat kid who got made fun of like I was. I was a kid who they said, oh, you're fat, take off your shirt to show everyone while you're trying to play your best sports. Like, you thought everyone was looking at you. And like Mick Jagger looked cool, he was skinny, his face looked older, but it didn't matter, because I was like, hey, he still looks cool and stuff. And Jane's Addiction I thought was cool because they were in shape, their bodies were in shape, and it was like, hey, no one's making fun of them, they're the coolest ones, and they're doing something different from the sinful world I noticed around me growing up, which unfortunately is the entire earth. And I did like being in California way better at one time, but I like being here too. So I've lived in Roanoke and California, and God had me be in California. It may not be for you, but I don't have any gay tendency at all. I'm probably the most straight person of anyone I know. There are people who I grew up with who are big, powerful military people, and they're really straight, and at a political level, they don't care if all gays die. They hate gays. That's how they've been. And they are more gay than me, because they would actually put their penis like right up to a woman when another man was having sex with her or something like that. If you can imagine how bad that is. And that's proof right there that they are more gay than I am, because I won't go anywhere near a man if I'm trying to do anything like that. In lust, no. And never in real life. And I won't even do it in lust. So if they want to kill gays, and that's the type of thing they do, is get close to another man while they're trying to feel good to their dick, they must be really gay. So that's how I feel about them. And that's how they really are. That's the type of thing they like, I guess. If they're doing, but when people go to war, it's a little different because they don't give a fuck what it is, because it's almost like demons and the devil. It's like if sex comes into that, it can be used as a, but when other people do it, it's normal. I think when people were kids and they showed images of that on the computer, people couldn't help but to look at it because all you saw was a woman. You didn't notice there's some other person there or something. When you're a regular straight man, so you see the woman and you're not thinking that's gay to be, but it's just, I just don't like it anymore. If I ever did think it was something that I noticed that I thought, when I was a kid, I liked I liked girls so much. I had hoped to be with one every day of my life and was deprived of them every day for like 10 years or something like that. I had to suffer without them and see them every day walking around with their butts, walking around the schools, wherever they were when I was a kid, and I had to go, oh, hey, and see them and then suffer by myself. I had low self-confidence. I couldn't even be confident around them. I couldn't kiss any of them or anything like that. It was just suffering. And it wasn't that bad. I didn't want to die. I wasn't depressed. Who cares? I had a pretty good life. It was really good back then. If I could go back then, if I could go back to being alive back then, I wouldn't. I would just keep having to live now, which I don't really want to, but maybe I'll get to be with my wife and kids. So there's a reason why I keep living. And keep talking mouth. I don't. It's even allowed to drink this in a video. I had a difficult morning already, and it's only 7:58 a.m. Hi. Yep, morning, as he always does. Yep, this is how it is. This video came out this way as if he's been doing it that way the whole time. It's just normal to him. Yep, that's how he does. And I don't know. And so I told a story yesterday about a gay man, and he farted out of his butt, but he never actually did anything sexual. He never did anything sexual. He was just farting, and he was doing it in a way that was so innocent of sin that it was like Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden when they could show themselves naked, and before they're introduced to sin, and it was innocent. They didn't do anything wrong, so there's nothing wrong with it, and it wasn't bad. It really wasn't bad. And sometimes people may be naked at home around one another in the same family, and it's not sinful at all. And it's not like those awful porn sites that try to show incest, and it's really bad, and they should get rid of it. Nobody likes it. Nobody likes that crap. They push it on people to try to mess them up in a demonic way, and nobody really likes incest unless it's like, there's some people who married their cousin or something like that, their distant cousin or something like that. And most people don't like incest. It's disgusting, and like, who would like that? They're repulsed by it, and it's awful. Why do they try to put that onto the porn sites? And who started that? And they should get rid of it. It's garbage. It's a way that they try to break up families, and they try to make them keep watching something that's cringy and disgusting when you can't even turn it off or something. And it's just gross. And like, going to those porn sites, it just looks like a bunch of horrific, disgusting crap, and they're all killing themselves by being in the porn industry because the fornication hurts the human body. And that's something about fornication and homosexuality, is that homosexuality will cause death and hurt the body, and fornication hurts the body. So when people fornicate enough, it will kill the human body, I think. And that's why most porn stars don't have very long lives. But but homosexuality is a little worse than fornication. However, if somebody fornicated with a bunch of people, that may be worse than someone having gay sex one time or a few times, or I don't know. So maybe we can research in the Bible and see which one is way worse or not. But I don't know if there's a way in the Bible to know that one sin may be way worse than another besides the Ten Commandments, which may be